disgusting.
Alright, so the other day, that's not true at all. Okay. A little bit ago, we saw Spider-Man Far From Home. Connor, what is the plot of Spider-Man Far From Home?
Spider-Man follows Peter Parker continuing after Endgame on how he copes with the death of his mentor, Tony Stark. It fills in a lot of holes about post-Endgame, explains that people who went away during the event are the same age, but other people that didn't were 5 years older.
And everybody who Spider-Man was friends with happened to be anyone who was important ever in Spider-Man Homecoming, including minor characters.
Yes,
is completely unaged.
Mm-hmm.
Like television news girl.
That's right. But for a class trip, they need to go to Europe, where there's a series of elemental monsters that Peter Parker's trying to fight with his friend Mysterio, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. And eventually, after they beat the elementals, Peter Parker gives them the power of some weird... Thank you for spilling a bunch of milk on my computer, by the way.
I got it. The elf glove was designed for this.
Alright.
I have a degree. I don't have a degree, but I have...
It's all across the side of my computer, too. You've absolutely caked my computer in milk, dude. This is why they don't allow milk in the fucking computer lab, dude.
What were elf gloves designed for?
On the bottom, too. Don't forget the bottom. Don't forget the bottom. It's covered in milk, dude. My $600 PC that you borrowed for 3 years. Stop. You are a fucking idiot. I don't care about the floor. Get the fucking computer. Get the computer. Keep hitting the computer.
Yeah.
Oh my
I'll
God.
keep working on it. You just talk about Spider-Man a little more.
Why? It's not fine. You poured milk all over my goddamn computer.
I have a degree. I have 90% of a degree in computer fix, and I can fix it.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway. Pardon me while I eat chicken nuggets. Spider-Man starts trusting Mysterio. Turns out Mysterio worked for Tony Stark and is now a villain. And then Spider-Man realizes he needs to be the new Tony Stark, and he fights Mysterio, and Mysterio dies. Alright, Aidan, what do you think of Spider-Man Far From Home?
Spider-Man Far From Home is pretty much the best that you could hope for coming out of Endgame, because Endgame was like horrifically massive scale, and this is pretty low scale relatively. It's really fun and goofy, and it's really, I guess to put it one way, it's really Spider-Man. Cause
it's kind of funny that you say it's a low scale, because it's probably the highest scale Spider-Man movie so far.
I mean, relatively, but I mean, yeah, I suppose, but still, in a Marvel Cinematic Universe sense, it's pretty low scale.
For sure.
And outside of, they kind of like try to pass Mysterio being the bad guy off as a twist, and there's like all these interviews where like there's a huge twist and no one will ever see it coming. Like you're the resident ex-comic book nerd here, so it was even more obvious to you. Yeah. But I've played like 3 Spider-Man video games, and the fact that Mysterio's a fucking bad guy is pretty base level knowledge. You'd have to be like pretty much like the most normie ever, like, to not realize that Mysterio's the bad guy all along. So trying to pass that off as a twist, a little tacky. They bring up Tony Stark's death a lot, and they do it pretty well, honestly. They have, at the start of the movie, they have like the bad tribute to his death, and that's kind of funny. And I guess the movie, in a way, is Spider-Man trying to live up to Tony Stark, and he's kind of just been forced into doing that. And that part of it works really well, and I think it's it's comedic and weird, and I guess my thoughts are a little scattered about it. It's been a while since I saw it, and I guess in the end, my point is I enjoy how small and character driven it feels, and how kind of goofy it's willing to be after everything that the last few movies have been, Endgame and Infinity War especially. So Connor, what'd you think of Spider-Man Far From Home?
I thought Spider-Man Far From Home was a pretty good movie. If you liked Spider-Man Homecoming, it's kind of more in that vein. It was a kind of a cool epilogue to Infinity War, but an Endgame, but I feel like that kind of takes away from it as a Spider-Man solo movie. If you aren't keeping up with the MCU, it might be kind of jarring because it's very contingent on you not only having seen Infinity War and Endgame, but having seen a lot of the Marvel universe in general. You have to have seen Homecoming, Infinity War, and Endgame, otherwise this movie, major plot lines of this movie would be like, okay, I have no idea what's going on, which I don't think was really a problem with previous Spider-Man movies so much. Like, even in the Amazing Spider-Man series, all you really gotta know is Gwen Stacy's his girlfriend to watch the second one. I mean,
and
honestly,
Mary
there's
Jane's
not
his
much.
girlfriend.
Well, yeah, and then in the original series, Mary Jane's his girlfriend. If you got those points down, you can watch the first two Spider-Man series.
This isn't
no
really
problem.
a Spider-Man sequel so much as it is an Endgame sequel about Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's kind of like follows Spider-Man, but really it's just the third part to the Little Avengers series, kind of the wind down, which makes sense going into the next.
And probably the
Avengers.
last time they'll ever bring up this time skip that creates way too many problems to actually deal with.
Yeah, I mean, probably.
Because, I mean, like, what happens to somebody who was snapped on an airplane?
I mean, a lot of the first.
Do they just pop back in the middle of the sky without an airplane and just fall to their death? Or?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. But, I mean, the next coming up movies are like Black Widow, Eternals, like a lot of shit that doesn't really affect it. Maybe Guardians will touch on it briefly, but that's really the only sequel we have coming up close.
Black Widow's supposed to take place between like Civil War and whatever.
Then Infinity War.
Yeah, so that's definitely not going to affect shit.
Well,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
that's what they say, but it might actually take place after, because the Russos were just like, the reason we didn't have a Black Widow funeral is because she's having her own movie soon. So it's like, who knows if she's actually dead, especially given the fact that Guardians 3 is probably just going to be the search for Gamora.
Yeah, search for Spock, except Gamora. Yeah, I don't know.
Or another theory.
Pretty much the only thing in the Marvel Phase 4 lineup
Here's
that
my theory.
is interesting to me is Doctor Strange 2, because they describe Doctor Strange 2 as a horror movie, which is fascinating to me, but I
want to
also
see
think
Shang-Chi and the Mandarin. Like, how do you make a big budget Marvel movie out of Shang-Chi?
about
and Blade
some
would be
random
kinda
Chinese
cool.
man. Oh, Blade might be cool, but Blade's got to be R to be cool. If it's PG-13, I'm not gonna care.
They
It's
might be able to
stupid.
pull it off at PG-13, but they gotta be
They're
right
gonna-
in that.
they're
It's
gonna
gotta
have
be
to
one
really
of those.
stretch the definition of PG-13.
Well, it's gotta be one of those things where they're like, we want the kiddies to be able to watch it, so they kind of just like pay off and tweak a couple things here and there.
I've
but
also
have it on
seen
the
some
edge
shit
of R.
about the fact that apparently there's some report going around that Disney's going to keep making Deadpool but make it a PG-13 series, which is stupid. I don't even like Deadpool, and I think that's stupid. But I think they're probably going to pussy out of Doctor Strange 2 being a horror movie because it's Disney, and they'll probably just make another Iron Man clone or some shit.
Yeah, probably. Or it'll be a PG-13 superhero movie, horror movie. I don't see how that really works.
I don't know.
How you put that
Do you
together.
think that other superhero horror movies come out? What the fuck is that called? New Mutants. Do you think that's ever gonna come out?
I doubt it. But I thought you were talking about Brightburn, where it's just like Superman.
No,
and
Brightburn
Superman's
already
evil.
came out. I never saw it.
No, I was
though.
gonna say it came out. I just saw it on Booty.
New
today.
Mutants had posters at the theater in Duluth, though.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it had that big one.
Like way
Like
back,
right
it had
in the-
posters, and then they
Yeah.
kind of got rid of those. And I'm like,
Yeah.
shit, New Mutants isn't happening. But
It's already filmed.
that
and
is like
shot.
the ultimate cancellation. That is one of the most supreme cancellations.
Yeah,
of
that's
all
on
time.
level like the Kanye Drake album that
I'm
already
not
had
even
posters and
pissed
shit.
off because it's like I didn't want to sit there, New Mutants.
I was kind of curious about New
Well,
Mutants.
people were saying it was fucking horrible.
'Cause I think
what
a
they've
horror-
seen. They had test audience see a basically finalized
Oh, I'm sure it was
version
horrible.
of the film.
It was a Fox movie.
Yeah, I know, but isn't that crazy that it was a superhero
Yeah.
movie that got canceled and was literally finalized? It was that fucking bad that they have the footage.
I think horror
And they were just so
superhero-
scared to taint the franchise that they're like, no, the franchise that got sold to Disney. Why not
I
just
think
dump it?
I
Just say,
think
"Fuck
horror
it."
superhero could be kind of interesting. I don't know. New Mutants probably wasn't the one.
Probably.
Anyway, back to Spider-Man a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. I like that Sam Jackson was so prevalent in it. For a while, for like phase 2, after Winter Soldier, and up to like Endgame, Sam Jackson wasn't even really in these, or up to Captain Marvel. Sam Jackson wasn't really in these movies, so the fact that he's prevalent in 2 of them this year is pretty cool. So I fucking love Sam Jackson.
I like seeing Sam.
No, honestly, I thought it was cool. I thought it did a lot of stuff well. I don't honestly have a ton to say. If you watch my Spider-Man Homecoming video, this shit was funny. Like, I don't have much to really expand on. It had a lot of funny moments. It had good action, but there's not a ton to
I'm
add.
really glad they brought J.K. Simmons back as J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh yeah, J.K. Simmons.
And the fact that he's doing some Alex Jones shit. I know a lot of people are kind of like iffy about that, but I think the Alex Jones shit's kind of funny.
Yeah, I also think it's kind of interesting that Peter's identity is out there now.
Yeah, that might be neat.
Interesting.
We'll see
I
where
think
it
part of
goes.
it's just convenience because there's not really such thing as secret identities in the MCU. I don't really know how it works because like Iron Man's out there. People seem to know about like Bruce Banner. Captain America people know because he's like a historical figure.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson, I guess, leaked her shit, and Hawkeye, they're both just kind of like walking around. So it's like,
Yeah.
but I don't know how they know who they are. I don't think it's like directly a secret identity thing. Spider-Man's really the first and only one in any of these movies where they're like, I have a secret identity to uphold.
Yeah, I mean,
And then he's like, yeah, fuck it.
pretty much anyone who's at a movie like Thor is just Thor. And everybody
Yeah,
calls
Thor
him
is just-
Thor and knows he's Thor and he's actually Thor. Like, Spider-Man's the only one who's ever had a secret identity in these movies.
Black Panther's the king of Wakanda. Imagine that. Imagine if Donald Trump became like the White Knight for America, you know? Suited up, fought in wars and stuff. He goes over to Afghanistan, starts running in a fucking Klan uniform. That
Oh,
superpowered Klan uniform, drives his fucking superpowered Lexus or whatever into the...
He shoots burning crosses at Muslim people.
Yes, exactly. Or Donald Trump is in the first ever
And he's kinda
manned
like,
drone, something called an airplane.
No, he's kind of like Terra from Mortal Kombat. He punches the ground and giant walls build up.
but
they
instead
just-
it's a burning cross.
It's just like a giant wall around the terrorists. And then he's like, I built that wall. I kept the Mexicans out.
Yeah, I like it. That's a concept. Marvel, next fucking cinematic universe character. Start making your own
Trump
characters.
man.
They're gonna run out of Stan Lee creations eventually, and the guy's
Well,
in the
they're burning
fucking
through 'em
casket.
fast.
So what are you gonna do?
They already wasted Daredevil and Punisher and Elektra and
Yeah, pretty much anyone that
Cage
wasn't made by Stan Lee was dumped onto Netflix or fucking Cloak and Dagger,
Rip
The
Daredevil.
Runaways. There's a lot of crappy Marvel shows out there, more than you think.
Yeah,
If
you always
read it,
forget
the
about
new
most
Warriors,
of them. There was also that
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Peggy
that fucking
Carter,
X-Men show. What was that called?
The Gifted.
Oh yeah, yep.
That was on Fox.
Yeah.
At least that's just out of existence. Legion, I heard, was pretty good.
Yeah, they're just gonna sweep that one under the rug.
I'm pretty sure it was already canceled, even though people liked it and it had good numbers the first season. I don't know if it's canceled or not. I feel like it is, though. Whatever. Well, Aiden, would you recommend Spider-Man Far From Home?
Yeah, Spider-Man Far From Home is a comfy little movie. Yeah, Connor, would you recommend Spider-Man Far From Home?
I would recommend it. It was a comfy movie. I don't know. Yes.
Alright, you
Yeah.
gonna lead me in for this next one?
Are we gonna
Crawl.
cut it off?
We should
Oh,
just
yeah,
stick
yeah,
Crawl
yeah,
at the end
yeah.
of this.
So, Aiden, speaking of Spider-Man, Sam Raimi did some Spider-Man movies. He also did Crawl, a movie I didn't see, but you did. The crocodiles and shit. So what's that one about?
Crawl is about a girl and her dad who get trapped in a crawl space by giant alligators. That's the plot. That's all that happens. Anyway, my thoughts about it are I was really disappointed. I found out after I saw this movie that Sam Raimi didn't actually direct it. He just like produced it and mentored the guy who directed it.
That. Yeah, definitely not seeing this.
I kind of expected a Sam Raimi movie,
Cheesy.
like cheesy and funny, and in the end it was kind of just like a generic horror movie. It was like Jaws, but it all takes place in a basement, and they spend most of their time just sitting in the basement talking about how they want to leave the basement, and occasionally they punch alligators in the nose. And there's a couple good death scenes mixed in there. I mean, there's like a few people who are still out in the storm who get eaten by the alligators. They get torn to shreds, and that's kind of entertaining. But a lot of the movie is kind of just like mediocre. A lot of it, I'm kind of a fan of things that take place in like one setting, you know, a little bit bottle episode-y. In this case, I don't think it really works because the grimy crawl space that's flooded with water from a hurricane is kind of a lame setting. Because at first they just sit in the mud and then they sit in the water. The deaths are entertaining, and there's... I don't know, man. I expected it to be a Sam Raimi movie where it was either like horrifically gory and also comedic, and it wasn't really funny, and there's only like 3 gore scenes in the movie, and overall I was kind of a little bit disappointed. So to make this little review of Crawl concise, I probably wouldn't recommend seeing Crawl. It might be a nice like Netflix thing if you're like drunk and bored, but as far as actually going to like paying to see it, I'd set your expectations pretty low because it's kind of mediocre. That's it. Yeah.
Bye.